Hello and welcome to Seeds of Wisdom with Rachel Wolf. I have a wonderful guest here today. She has so much to say. I'm going to let her, Shelly, introduce yourself because I don't want to miss anything.
Hi, Rachel. Thank you for having me. It's really nice to be here today.
I'm so happy you're here.
Yeah, so I'm a certified life coach and a clinical hypnotherapist. And I just it's my mission in life really to enlighten, empower, and inspire my clients to live their best lives. I love what I do. And I think I'm on a mission really right now in terms of the hypnotherapy. So
Mhm.
many people don't know about it and it's widely misunderstood. And it's a really powerful therapeutic tool and that is highly effective. So right now, that's kind of where I am and what I'm doing, kind of just like on a mission to dispel the myths, let people know about a really, really powerful therapeutic tool that can make a big change in their life.
Well, and I feel like the newest research on the brain is really helping understand that because trauma therapies are changing so much in the way of understanding that the rewiring and the new messages and all of that. So I'm so glad you're doing what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you. I love it. Really what I do is I put someone in a very relaxed state and I fill them with love and light. I mean, it's like couldn't be better than that. It's
Yeah,
it's such an honor and a pleasure. And yeah, I love it. Thank you.
wonderful. Well, Shelly is going to be sharing her seed of wisdom today. It is there are no mistakes. So I know this can be controversial to some people. And just remember, these are seeds. We all have our own gardens. And these are the seeds that we're sharing that benefit our lives. And the best thing we can do is learn to be open enough to appreciate other people's gardens and what they have to offer. It doesn't mean we're telling you you have to believe what we believe. So, with that, I want to open it up to you and ask you, how did you come about this belief for you?
You know, this has been a cumulative process. And, I finally came to realize this really after my Shark Tank journey. I was on the TV show Shark Tank along with our mutual friend, Kirsten Hathcock. And it was the most incredible journey to be on, and none of it turned out exactly the way that I thought it was going to. Like none of it. I mean, none of it. You go on a TV show like that and have all these hopes and think all these things are going to have, and especially when I had such a good result, securing a deal on the show and doing so well on the show and this and that, and even though even I had that, none of it worked out the way that I thought it was going to be. I'm the only entrepreneur on that show's history now to ever be handed a check on the spot. And the next day I got a phone call from my shark partner telling me not to cash the check, right? So none of it worked out. When my episode aired to over 6 million people, my product didn't sell very well. I had a deal with Disney parks to sell my product into their theme parks and on their cruise ship. That didn't work out. A licensing deal, that didn't work out. And I found myself through the whole process broken, so upset, so disappointed and angry, like sort of feeling like I was a lotto winner that didn't get paid, right?
Yeah.
And I really, really suffered and struggled for the longest time because I kept thinking everything was wrong. This that happened was wrong. Me not getting that check was wrong. Me not getting this was wrong. I was wrong. It was wrong. I judged it all as wrong. And then I realized that when you judge something as wrong, right, you get stuck. You go nowhere. And then I had this huge aha moment one day when I realized this big waking up. You weren't on Shark Tank to sell a towel. You were on Shark Tank to sell hope. You were on Shark Tank to inspire. And I did. I had over 6 million people watch my episode and were so inspired by me that I was flooded with like thousands of emails of people telling me, I saw you last night. Oh my gosh, you give me hope. Oh my gosh, you inspire me. I want to start my business today. I want to do this. You're helping me to believe in myself again. And I thought, I wasn't expecting any of that. I was expecting the sales the next day,
Mhm.
and all of a sudden I got all of these beautiful messages, which were amazing, but I didn't make the connection that that's what I received. I kept expecting something else. And then when I have this aha moment and realize, wait a minute, what if you weren't even on the show to sell towels? What if you were on the show to sell hope and inspiration? That's what it was all about. And then I was like, every cell in my body agreed. Yes, that's true. That's exactly why you were on the show. And then nothing seemed wrong. Okay. It all of a sudden seemed right. And then I realized, oh my gosh, I've been judging this all as a mistake. Everything seemed like a mistake. Wait a minute. Maybe there aren't any mistakes. Maybe we just judge things as mistakes. Okay, maybe if you look at something and don't call it a mistake, maybe it just is, maybe you don't label it, maybe it just is. If you just look at it and not judge it as bad, maybe there's just a lesson to be learned. Maybe there's a lesson to be learned, and if I can say thank you for it, I could find even a blessing. And I when I came upon that, this knowing, and it didn't come, it came through me, right? When it came alive within me, when I came to understand that every cell in my body just said, yes, it's true. And I've experienced it time and time again, that a mistake is not something bad. A mistake is just a lesson life would have you learn in order to guide you, point you in another direction. And when you can embrace it, if you can even be thankful for it, that underneath the lesson, there's a blessing that can be so profound, life changing. And when I look now back at my like Shark Tank journey that was such a disaster, right? I think everything worked out perfect. I'm so happy I never cashed that check. I'm so thankful I'm not in the towel business. Me being on that show and all these people reaching out to me asking for advice while I mentor them brought me about to being a life coach. And then it brought me to becoming more of an inspirational speaker, which I love doing. And then it brought me about to becoming a clinical hypnotherapist. And I am living a life that is so fulfilled, so happy, doing exactly what I'm meant to be doing on this planet. And I can look back on it now and it worked out perfect. But I could have sat and still been pissed. I could still be sitting and being pissed, being like, that was bull, someone giving you a check and then tell you no, you can't cash it and let it piss me off the rest of my life. Stay stuck, stay blocked, angry. But what's the point? I embraced it. I found the lesson and I know I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And I know one of the things I'm supposed to be doing is teaching that lesson.
Wow. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm even tearing up so much. I love it because, I feel like when people are fighting that there are no mistakes, when you see like a meme or something that says it and they're like, that's not true. What about, and it's like they're approaching it from a totally different angle and from this place of anger, of resistance.
Right.
And instead of looking at, asking ourselves the question, well, could it be true?
Right.
And just like you did, it's like you thought that way. And, I've gone through times even recently where I can snap into a moment where I get mad
Oh yeah.
and think that there's a mistake. And then I'm like, wait a second. And I just question it and go, you know what? I'm only seeing a small picture. I'm seeing through a straw hole. So, what do you tell people who are really in that resistance, since you actually deal with this through your work too?
Uh-huh.
What do you tell people who they want to feel better, but they're feeling resistance?
Yeah, then it's all about shifting our focus. Okay? Because what you're focused on is what appears to be wrong, what's missing, what someone that you've got your focus on what you don't want. Let's shift our focus on what you do have and what is working. That's one way to start to shift. And when you start to focus on what is working and what you do have and all of your blessings, then what you focus on expands. So that's the concept. What you focus on expands. When you focus on the goodness in your life, you create more of it. But when you're focusing on what you don't like and what's wrong, you're just going to create more and more of that. So the first step is to shift our energy, shift our focus to what I do want. And when you start looking for what you do want, you begin looking through a new lens, looking for what's working, for me. As you look through the new lens, you start seeing possibility, opportunity. You start shifting to thinking, could I see this another way through this new lens? Could it be that actually it worked out better than I could have even imagined? And it's funny, I'll post this to people sometimes, and sometimes people go, wow, I never thought of it that way. And some people will flat out resist it.
Mhm.
I don't know that I could ever really believe that, you know?
Yeah.
I said, hey, it's just a seed I'm planting right now. You might not be able to embrace it yet, but just think about it. What if it all worked out? What if it worked out better than you could have imagined? What if you're sitting here writing the what if stories and towards the negative? What if this is the thing that ruins me? What if I made the biggest mistake in my life? What if this happened? Could we write a positive what if? What if actually this worked out better than you could ever imagine? What if it was the greatest blessing of your life? What if this thing that you're judging is so wrong turns out to be the best thing that's ever happened to you? You know, and it's interesting people's reactions. Sometimes they'll go, I don't know about that. But more than likely, I have more people who will say, wow, I hadn't thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's such a and it's when we can at least be open to hear someone's perspective on it.
Yes.
Just hearing the perspective opens up a little space.
It's
It,
so true.
when we don't have that block saying it's not true. It's not. Like if
Yes.
it just it, I know I have resisted so many positive messages that have helped me so much in my life
Right.
by going, no, that's not true. Just
True.
I shut it down before it even like can penetrate in at all. Just even
Right.
question the thought of, wait, the way I'm feeling doesn't make me feel good. The way she's feeling does make her feel good.
Mhm.
Oh, I can think like that. It is a choice to think like that.
It's a choice. It's a choice. We believe our thoughts and we suffer,
Hmm.
right?
I agree.
I mean, we believe our thoughts, we believe our stories, we are so convinced, and we never question them. You know, question a story that is 100% made up in your mind,
Yes.
right?
Oh,
But we believe it
absolutely.
and we suffer, and it's a choice. Uh-huh.
Well, and I love that you're sharing, a story of these things that because a lot of times when people have these big things happen that they think is going to change their life in a specific way,
Right.
we get so laser focused on that we miss, so like because we're not present and we're so out there in some future place that we don't even know is going to happen, but we create,
Right.
that we miss what's happening now. Like I- I'm so glad you got there so that you could hear how much inspiration you gave to people.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
how wonderful is that?
It was so wonderful. It meant so much to me. And every person that wrote to me, I took me 2 weeks to sit and write back. I truly wrote back a loving message to each person. It meant so much to me. It was so healing for me. And but it that brought me to one of the second, profound lessons that I learned through that whole experience was to never attach to an outcome. We really can't attach to an outcome. You never know how something's going to look. And when you become so attached to an outcome, then it might look different than you think it's going to, but that doesn't mean it's wrong.
Yep.
But when you're so sure it has to look this way, then you judge it as wrong, and then you miss the blessing, which is exactly what was happening to me. And I got so stuck in this being wrong, 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 wrong. I was so pissed for so long. I missed opportunities that were there in my life, from being on TV and doing all that, having all the exposure that I had, because I was so focused on what happened to me and feeling like a victim and judging it as wrong and being stuck there and blocked there for a really long time. And this voice would kind of come and whisper to me and say, you got to let this go. Like, this isn't healthy. You have to move on. And when you get the message, it kind of keeps coming. And everywhere I would look, I would see a book on forgiveness, and I'd be watching, a video or something, and Louise Hayes would say, "It's time to start forgiving." And I'd be like, "Oh my God, it's all around me. I can hear it." And then I knew the universe was telling me that it was time to forgive and that I needed to move on. And when I
Mm.
finally embraced forgiveness, that's when everything shifted. I was able to see it through that new lens. That's when I was able to have that aha moment. Oh my God. Oh my, what if this all worked out for me? It did work out for me.
You made a point that I wanna kind of hone in on because I think it's so important where you said it made me a victim and all of those things that happen when we believe the thought that things are a mistake, the resentment, the anger, the rage, the victimhood, and what that does in our bodies.
Oh, toxic. It's like poison. Yeah.
Yeah. Will you speak to that a little bit more? Like, because I know you work with people who are
Yeah.
holding on to toxic energy and so
Yeah. Yeah. It's so important. Unforgiveness is like poison. Um, the Buddha says that when we don't forgive, it's like drinking poison and wishing that your enemy would die.
yes.
And you know, we and we all enable each other in it, because you'll tell your girlfriends, it's like, this happens, like, oh, that's. And so we're constantly just like enabling each other. This is so terrible. And, the ego mind just loves it, loves telling the story, loves being the victim, loves sharing. Oh my gosh, did you hear her story? People, did you hear her? She didn't get to cash that check. And it's like, my ego's like, that's right. I was such a victim. I just loved it. Right.
Uh-huh.
And we become married to our stories.
Yeah.
And I see people in here in my practice all the time, so married to their story. This is who I am. And if they become so married, it becomes so glued to them. It's almost like a sweater, like a blanket that they wear. And it's like they don't want to take it off, because who would I be without my story?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so we talk about story. I talk about story with my clients a lot.
Mhm.
Are you aware that you're telling yourself a story? What if it wasn't even true? What if it's not even true? And when you can begin to start looking at it from another perspective, when you can wake someone up like that, it's a big moment. But everyone comes to it in their own time.
Oh, yes.
And some people
Yeah.
are just not ready to take off that blanket.
Mhm.
And when I see that they are not ready to take off that blanket, they just sit with it on, and that's fine. I just know that when we're ready to take it off, I'll help you take it off. That's okay.
Well, and I love what happens when we are ready because it's just like that proverb, when the student's ready, the teacher appears.
100%.
And it's this beautiful thing that happens when we're ready to actually help ourselves move out of things that are not serving us.
When you're ready, you will find that you have everything you need.
Yep.
And all the teachers are there, all the people that are there. Someone who was real profound in my life, a spiritual teacher, from the spiritual center that I attend. She's a coach there, and I'd done some sessions with her, and she said to me one time, "Shelly, you need to start looking through a new lens, sweetheart." She said, "Here," and she gave me another pair of these other glasses. She said, "Put these glasses on." She said, "This is these rose tinted lenses. I want you to start seeing things from a new perspective. I want you to start seeing through truth, because you're viewing life through your hurt and your disappointment, and you're just seeing more of it. And I want you to see this through this new lens. This is called the lens of love and the lens of truth. Look deeper through this new lens and see what you see." And that changed everything. And that is a hypnotic suggestion I give to all my clients. When I have
Yeah.
someone in hypnosis, I have them imagine this golden light, that we fill them with golden light. It comes down and it moves over their eyes and it creates a filter. And they're now seeing through this new lens, this lens of love and truth and possibility in anything possible. We've dissolved that lens of judgment, the lens of fear, the lens of limitation. And now you see through the lens of anything, through lens of love and light. And you see magic, miracles, light, blessings in all things. And it's a really powerful hypnotic suggestion.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just such a thank you so much for coming on today and sharing this seed and a few more in that too. So that's wonderful. So I hope people listen to this whole episode because there's a bunch of nuggets in there.
Thank you. It's a real
So
pleasure. I find it such a blessing. I know that I'm being called to do this type of work, and any opportunity to share, I'm grateful for. And so thanks for having me, Rachel.
thank you. And I hope whoever's watching this knows if you're here, you're meant to be here. Trust it. Thank you. Make sure to follow the links that accompany this episode. You will learn a lot more about today's guest and see what they have going on now. You will also get all the links to follow them on their journeys if this seed resonates with you. If you like what you heard, remember to like, follow, and subscribe to FromALovingPlace.com and all its platforms. Remember to come back next week for another Seed of Wisdom.